Hello everyone and welcome back to my devlog series on my game Final Exit. So I don't know if you remember that I was playing around with the ladder, and when you got up and down it was working, but if you pressed up and down and he wasn't by the ladder, it kept the variable. So if I pressed up now and he'd walked past the ladder, he'd go up it. So I've just done a little quick fix where you press up and he doesn't do it. It's only when you're on it and you press up. Really simple little thing. You could over-engineer something like that, but it doesn't need. Literally before was, where are we? When you push down the up, you go one way, and if you press down on the down key, you go another way. But basically, if you let go or key up on either of those keys, it just sets it back to 0. Simple as that. So if you press up and you're not on the ladder, and then you let go of the key, it just resets it. Very, very simple. Hope that makes some sort of slight sense. So the first 10 levels are the basics: normal blocks, a couple of platforms and a ladder. When you completed all 10, or once you've got enough stars to open up, I'll go through all of that. But once you get to the next world, which I will go back to the worlds menu soon, but once you get to the next world, you get a different background and usually a new block or something. So for these 10 here, I can sort of jump through. They're all fairly similar to begin with, just so you learn a bit. There's a few more in there. Why is there a block on a platform, a ladder? Something needs to happen. You know, they're fairly similar, the levels, but each time you're sort of learning something new. Because if you jump too far ahead, you won't have a clue what they do. You need to learn. It needs to sort of become almost second nature what each block does, because by the time you get to later levels, you need to be whizzing through stuff. Basically, you have to move blocks in time for other blocks and things like that. So, if I start off just here explaining what this one is and what errors come up, because of course errors come up because we're redoing most of it. So, the stop block, what does that mean? It means that these normal blocks, if you push it, all fall over. This stop block cannot be pushed over. It's like set in stone or metal or something like that. So if I was to push that now, you can't push it and another block cannot push into it. So if I was to come along here and push these ones, bing, 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 bing. Oh, we have an error. And it's saying, it's basically saying object reference not set to an instance of an object. Now that can mean a few things, it's quite arbitrary, but it's in the function called find next block. So what it's doing, this block here that's just been hit, he's looking at the next block and it's getting confused by it. Something's not working. So if you look on this block stopper, or stop block, still got the JS script and it shouldn't be there. So if we get rid of that, and bring in our C# one, and if we just update that as prefab. So basically what it's doing is trying to call something in the C# script, but it still had a J script on it, and it all got confused and it errored. And I'm sure a lot of these blocks haven't had all the scripts updated on them. This is running really slow. Anyway, that's one of the things to do later on. So when you push this, bing, 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 bing. Oh, get to a stop block. Right, game over because you haven't hit the goal block and you've already pushed something. Just ignore that for a second. You zoom in. This is len to and len to net. Like you would in reality with physics. So for a basic level like this, you just have to move that out of the way. There is a little bit more functionality when it comes to the stop blocks, so I'll quickly show that now, but let me just complete this level to show you what you need to do. Really simple. Oh my god, that is so slow. Sorry about this. It must be, God knows it wasn't a second ago, it's this previewing. I want to get it compiled on Windows, so I can capture on the graphics card better. I mean, look, it's just not even so insanely slow. Anyway, if you use your imagination, imagine it's going real time. now you can push them over, gold block goes, exit opens, and you go through, level cleared. Simple as that. So when you push a block against a stop block, you see them all pile up, and they stop moving. And if you move the stop block out of the way, they all roll along. They all roll onto each other normally, like the same physics. Obviously, it's driven by animation clips. So if I just quickly show that again, I'll explain one other thing. So when you knock one or two, doesn't really matter. Game over. So if we look from the scene view, it doesn't really touch, doesn't really match. It's an animation clip that can be refined. The point is, they lay there and they stay there. This stop block can't be moved, unless that stop block was moved, which actually there's another thing, and you can move them. This would then fall over. But the point is, if they're all laying on top of each other, these yellow ones won't move till something else happens. So if we were to move one of these out of the way, of course, it doesn't pick it up properly because there's some weird little glitch in it. But if we were to push against a stop block and there's nothing here, there's nothing to lean onto the one we're pushing, nothing's happening. Which shouldn't happen, which means we have a bug in the game. So before I explain what should happen, I think I know what this is, to be honest. But so the point is, if you can see in the C# script, there's a function called stop bounce back, which means when you rotate onto a stopping block, it should, if we can actually sort of roughly do this, it should rotate and go boing and bounce back, like so. So you can do some sort of cool chain reaction. All the levels start to become really dynamic and things like that. Now, I've traced through the code and this is all getting called properly, stop bounce back. Why is it not happening when you can have blocks all in a row and they roll over and knock into a stop block? Now this is an I enumerator function because we have the yield return for the wait for seconds command. But why isn't it getting called? And it dawned on me that I was once again being a bit of an idiot. And to call an I enumerator function, you have to put it in a, you have to call it differently. So you have to put it in you have to call it from a start coroutine, which makes me think this problem is going to crop up quite a bit, because all of my functions, as they've got these yield returns in them for the wait for seconds, are all I enumerators, bit of a tongue twister, and they're going to have to be called this way. So what you do, you grab, when you call this function, put it in a start coroutine. Simple as that, really. And errors. An overload method takes not arguments. Right, there we go, it's gone. So it's going to have to happen a few times just for this, and it's going to probably happen on many other functions that I think I'm just sort of, going to come across. And that's just the nature of all this code conversion stuff, especially as I'm not an expert with it, as I'm sure you can tell as we go along. But this should fix it. Are there any calls to it? These are just animation clips. Yeah, so let's see if this works. Well, just on this note, you might start to understand why there's so much lines of code in this game. The way I've done it is because a block here could rotate into that, you could also have it rotate into that and bounce back. So there's always sort of, but can you rotate back because there's one leaning on you? And then when you get more complex, can you bounce back off the stopper if there's a hole next to you, or an exploding block, or a pause block, or a bridge block, or someone others? It starts to spiral out of control a little bit. And I'm sure, if I was to rewrite this, could be a cleverer way of doing this. But, this sort of does work. Well, it does originally. All this code conversion stuff stopping it work a little bit, but you know, we'll get there. So if we just pick this one up, move you up way over here, and give this one a push, fingers crossed, and bounce back. There we go. So it was down to that, me calling the function wrong, which is really nice because I know it's not me coding stuff wrong, it's just a conversion thing. So you can see that bounce back. So if we just play that again, so here you can sort of see you start to see how blocks can be pushed differently. So when I push at the end here, they all roll over and land on top of each other and hit the stop block. If you just have one and you push it, it bounces back and lays on the ground. So if I just push that one, it should roll over, hit the stop block, bounce back, realise there's not a gap to lay down. Actually, there's another block here, and you know, just basically dynamically see the sequence again of, you know, collisions and chain reactions. And it does. There we go. It bounced back. Excellent. So that is working perfectly. I hope some of this makes sense. I'm sure it probably, I don't know. I ramble a lot, but it works, so it's good enough for me. So if we go back to the levels, that was the basic one. So I'm not going to go through all of these. There's a few there, roughly the same, to sort of get the player to sort of fully understand how they work. There's a few there you've got to move out of the way. So here, back to, you know, a ladder and a higher platform. Seen before. So this shows you that the stop block actually has a function. Instead of just getting in the way and being annoying that you have to push out of the way, instead of you having to pick up all these yellow blocks one by one and put them all along here, then push them to knock it over, which would take forever, and you wouldn't do it in the optimal amount of pickups, which is, you know, an extra part to the level, which I can talk about later. The stop block can be used to make something bounce back from one level to another. So if you were to push that, it falls down, ding, bounces. And now I've just seen a bug there, and I think I know why. If anyone's got good eyes, let me just complete the level, make sure it works. Level cleared, brilliant. What was the error? So you see here, that block is not laying flat on the ground. Now none of them do. However, this, if I just reset that, when this rotates, it should lay onto that one. However, this one here had fallen off and gone on. So if we play this, and I'll sort of pause and go through it frame by frame and understand what I mean. This again is another reason why there are so many functions in here. I'm sure this is running really slowly. You've got two screens going on 4K. So if I just push this, so when it goes over it, it lays onto it, but as the left one is going to fall off the platform. So at the moment, this block here is doing the correct thing. But as this one fall off the edge of the platform falls off, I'm going to play it a bit now, as it's gone and this one's not leaning on anything more, it should then fall to the ground and go like that. It just keeps it clean. It doesn't really change the game or anything, but it just looks cleaner and more realistic. Now that probably is the same issue as this whole start coroutine. There's a function that does that and it's not being called correctly because it's now got to be an I enumerator because there's a yield in there for the wait for seconds. So, God knows what that function's even called. They're starting to get silly names because there's so many little ifs and buts and oh my god. So forward knock block, stop bounce back, we've just done that one. Explain. I may have to pause and go through this. Falling block next check, could it be something like that? I have no idea. I mean, it's been a while. But as it's the point is, as it's an I enumerator, you can, if the call, where's that? That's commented out. The call to that, here we go, isn't going to do anything because it needs to be in a start coroutine. So, you know, while we're here, you might as well just do it. I'm sure if anyone's watching who actually knows how to program more than I do, it's probably sat there going, I'm an idiot, that's not why, or apologies because I don't know what I'm doing. Please tell me. But as I've said, if it works, you know, it works. I'm learning as I go along. So any more of these functions? Probably another function. Yeah, there we go. Let's just put into there. Is that correct? I'm just copying something in there that's wrong. Loads to different animation. That's correct. I think there's one more. That's the function, isn't it? I don't know if this is the actual function for this, but you know, it needed doing anyway, so let's just have a quick look. Update. I've noticed something though. Now I'm using C# and not JavaScript for these functions. Unity updates so much quicker because it's optimized for it, and when I get into the new Unity, it should be a lot quicker. Which I keep. I might just contradict myself because it's all gone all slow now, but when I do other projects in 2019, it's much quicker. So let's see if this actually does anything then. If not, it's going to be another one. So after this, I will go through and put all those start coroutine functions in. Let's just see what happens here. Oh, it's not that one. Oh, we had a little weird error there. It's not that one, but it will be something like that. So I think what I'm going to do is go through them now and just put all the calls in, because there's going to be so many. It might well be that one. Probably could well be that one. I might start that one. So I'll pause it now, stop my rambling, and fix that, and come back and hopefully see it all working. I've just quickly whizzed through the code and swapped everything that was, and the function was next fallen block change. Basically, your next block, if it's falling down and it's sort of changed from what it was, if that makes any sense, this is the function you've got to call. So it was all just saying that, and I'll put it in the start coroutine. So if you can see, we'll play it now, and the block that gets left, you know, that gets left half leaning in the air once the one on the edge of the platform falls off, it should lay to the ground. Ding ding ding, ding, and it lays to the ground. Hey, and it all works. So, as I said a second ago, or a minute ago, these other functions, for instance, say this one here, vanish single stop. Don't even know what that means anymore, but it's an enumerator just because the yield return, wait for seconds thing. It's being called there, that needs to be in the start coroutine. So there's a few functions there. So instead of me waiting for a problem to come along in all the levels, and I might not see there's a problem, I'm going to quickly whiz through and fix them, and then we can look at some more levels. I think I'll end this episode here and finish all those little script fixes up. Thank you for watching. Any comments or thoughts, please let me know below, and I will try to make the videos better. Anything you don't understand, just ask, or want to like or subscribe, let me know. And I will then get on with the next video, which will hopefully be about the next block. Cheers, bye.